Hi everyone and welcome to another reading vlog. It is currently Thursday, I think, and I am about to head out to the library to pick up a copy of 0 Days by Ruth Ware, which is one of my most anticipated books of the year. It only came out a few weeks ago, I think, and I reserved a copy from the library before they even got the copy in. So I am going to go out and pick that up this evening, and I want to start it straight away, but I also have In a Dark Wood by Ruth Ware on my August TBR. So I thought, why don't I do a reading vlog where I read both books in one video, because In a Dark Wood was Ruth Ware's debut. Obviously 0 Days is her latest release, so I thought I could do a comparison between the two. I don't know how this video is going to go because I've only spontaneously decided to film it today. So yeah, I think that's everything that I need to say in the intro. Let's go to the library. Good morning. I am about to head out for brunch with some friends, but when I get home, the plan is to continue with 0 Days by Ruth Ware. I read the first 50 pages of this when I woke up this morning, and so far I'm really liking it. I like that we're following this main character who's a security expert. Basically, companies hire her to break into their buildings to test out their security systems. So she works with her husband. He's at home doing all of the computer hacking stuff, and she's actually there on the ground breaking into the buildings. So the first chapter is following her when she's on a job. Then I know that the main plot of this is that she's accused of murder and goes on the run, and I'm assuming she uses her skills to try and work out who the actual murderer is. Really enjoying it so far. Like I said, I really like the atmosphere and it feels different. Like, I love Ruth Ware, she's one of my favourite authors, but I do tend to prefer her mysteries over her faster paced books. So not sure how this is going to go. I'm hoping it still has the atmosphere that I love in a Ruth Ware book, and I mean the atmosphere so far has been fantastic. The only little tiny criticism that I have is that in the first chapter there was a bit of banter between the main character and her husband, and it was a little bit cringe. So that, you know, is the only little thing that I didn't love, but I am still really excited to see what direction this goes in. I wasn't sure whether the blurb was going to be a little bit spoilery. I don't always read the summaries of thrillers, especially when they're written by an author who I know I really love. At least the first paragraph of the inside jacket has explained what happens within the first 50 pages, so it's not too spoilery, and I don't have any predictions yet on what direction this is going to go in. But yeah, I've only read the first 50 pages, so that's probably understandable, but I feel like I'm rambling now. I don't have much else to say about this, but I will let you know once I have more thoughts. So I am almost halfway through 0 Days by Ruth Ware. I am on page 130 something, I think, 135. So the way that this book is written, it's like it's counting down to something. So I'm at the start of the chapter that says -5 days, so I can't work out if that's she's 5 days on the run or whether it's 5 days until something happens. I think we are counting down to something because the title of the book is 0 Days, but yeah. Anyway, I am really liking this so far. You know how sometimes you'll be reading a book and the tension is just so good that it gives you that sinking feeling in your stomach and you can almost feel your heart rate going up a notch? That's how this book is making me feel, and I love it. It actually reminds me a little bit of the film Taken because it feels fun in the sense that we're following this main character who has a particular set of skills, and she's using those skills to try and solve this murder. The tone itself, though, isn't fun because there's been a lot about grief, and it feels darker and grittier, kind of, yeah, exactly like the film Taken. The main character is acting impulsively, and she's making decisions that I don't think I would personally make. However, I think that it does make sense that she's doing things the way that she is. Like, she has reasons for not trusting the police, so I'm quite happy to just roll with things and just overlook my disbelief, because I do think that it feels logical at the moment that she would be doing things the way that she is. Just had to delete some stuff off my camera because I ran out of space on my memory card. But yeah, I will try and do another update for this before I finish it. But honestly, it's the kind of book where I think I could easily finish it in one sitting. I'm hoping this is going to have some really good twists. I don't know. I don't have any predictions right now, which is really exciting considering I'm almost halfway through. I really hate it when I'm reading a thriller or a mystery and I work out what's going to happen within the first few pages or the first few chapters. So this is going well so far. Good morning. It is now Sunday and I read 240 pages of this book yesterday. I don't know what it is about the writing, but it's just really compelling and I was really struggling to put it down last night, so I'm definitely going to finish it today. My plan is to go for a run this morning before it gets too hot outside, and then I'm going to see Barbie this evening. I'm so excited. I keep seeing people talk about it on social media and it's getting really difficult now to avoid spoilers, so very excited that I'm finally going to be seeing it tonight. I will let you know my thoughts once I'm back from the cinema, but yeah, before then I do want to finish 0 Days. I'm still liking it, like I said. I don't think the pacing has been perfect. There's been moments of action, but there's also been long drawn out parts where the main character is theorising and she's trying to decide what her next move should be. So I just wanted to mention that to set expectations. I don't think the slower parts have really bothered me that much because there is just something so addictive about this story. I think most of Ruth Ware's books are told in first person POV and I really like that. I think that writing style works for this story in particular because it's making me feel close to the main character and like I'm experiencing everything as she is, and I would describe this more as a suspense rather than a thriller, because there are thrilling elements, but I think the main purpose of this book is to have you on the edge of your seat until the very end. So yeah, I'm going to read the last 100 pages today and hopefully this is going to be a 4 or 5 stars. I don't want to say like a definite prediction now because it could go either way. I'm not 100% sold on the direction that it's going in. There's been a lot of technology stuff mentioned and I don't think it's been explained in the best way. I think I'm following everything, but yeah, I'll let you know my final thoughts on this once I've finished it. So I have now finished 0 Days by Ruth Ware. I ran it through Quarpile, which is the rating system that I use, and it just about scraped a 4 stars, which is a little disappointing because when I started this book, I thought it could possibly be 5 stars, but I really didn't like the ending. And obviously I'm not going to go into spoilers, but I thought the ending could have been stronger. There were certain aspects of the story which I felt were wrapped up a little too loosely, shall we say. Some parts of this were a little over the top and unbelievable, but I didn't mind that too much. It did get a little tiring towards the end, but generally I was here for the ride. This is a very adrenaline-fueled thriller, and it reminded me a little bit of Dan Brown's books. Obviously it's not a direct comparison, but I used to love the Dan Brown books when I was a teenager, so this gave me a little bit of nostalgia for that because I haven't read that type of thriller in a really long time. I'm going to try and explain something here and just bear with me with this comparison, but I think the mystery thriller books are a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, and my personal preference is to have all of the pieces from the beginning so that when it gets to the end, you look back and it just feels really satisfying that you've been able to put all the pieces together. This felt a bit like getting halfway through a jigsaw puzzle and realising that you're missing half the pieces, but someone comes along and presses them in for you, so you end up seeing the full picture at the end and you didn't really see it come in, but you don't get that satisfying feeling of having put it together yourself. So yeah, I think that's how I'd summarise my overall feeling towards this book, is that I enjoyed the journey, but the ending could have been more satisfying. Content warnings for mentions of domestic abuse in this, and also if you're not great with descriptions of injuries, then you might also want to give this one a miss. It wasn't too graphic, but it was making me feel anxious, and that's not even a trigger for me. So yeah, like I said, 4 stars for this, and I am going to be picking up In a Dark, Dark Wood next. I'm a little bit nervous because it was her debut, but I do tend to prefer Ruth Ware's more gothic mysteries rather than stuff like this where it's more adrenaline fueled. So yeah, once I've started In a Dark, Dark Wood, I will let you know my initial thoughts, but yeah, hopefully I will enjoy that one as well. Good afternoon. It is it Tuesday at the moment? Yeah, it's currently Tuesday. I am on my lunch break and I thought I would update you on In a Dark, Dark Wood because I started reading this last night and so far it's okay. I don't know how I feel about the main character, but basically this is following a main character whose name I think is Nora. I think her full name is Lenora, but she goes by Nora now. She used to be called Lee, which is a little bit confusing because she is on this hen do with some people that she went to school with. So basically, in the first chapter, she gets invited to go on this hen weekend for her former best friend, Claire, but she hasn't seen Claire since they were 16, so around 10 years ago, and she's a little bit confused why she's been invited because there seems to be a reason why they don't talk anymore. We don't know the full details yet. I do have theories, and I'm going to be interested to see if I'm right. Obviously, this was Ruth Ware's first book. It came out in 2015, I think, so I don't know how predictable it's going to be, but yeah, basically we're following our main character Nora, who's at this hen party in Northumberland, and they're staying in this big house in the middle of these woods that's quite isolated, so it does feel a little bit spooky, a little bit gothic, and I am liking the atmosphere. The maid of honour is Claire's friend from uni who's called Flo, and she's acting a bit erratic, and she's talking about how she wants this weekend to be perfect. So that's also a little bit uncomfortable. I feel like this book in general has been a little bit unsettling because obviously you know that something happened in the past, but also in the present day it's like the characters have reverted back to their teenage selves. Did I say that right? I am struggling today, I'm so sorry. But yeah, it feels like there's a bit of pettiness going on. There's been some drama, but it feels like it's at an entertaining level at the moment. I feel like if that becomes too much of a thing, then I might find it a bit irritating. writing. But yeah, so far this is just okay. None of the characters are particularly likeable, but I might have mentioned this in this vlog or in my last vlog. I don't care if the characters in a thriller are unlikable. I actually sometimes find that if they're not very nice people, then it can make the book even more fun. So yeah, we'll see how we go with this one. It is reading really quickly. I'm gonna see if I can show you what the page spacing looks like, because obviously this is a hardback, but the margins and stuff are massive. So even though this is over 300 pages, I reckon I can finish it within a couple of days, like maybe tonight or tomorrow. I think I'm gonna aim for tomorrow because I do need to film my July wrap up this evening. I also need to go for a run because I think I've talked about this in vlogs before, but I'm running a 10k in September, so 6 weeks to go, and I can't even run a 5k at the moment. So I need to make sure that I'm sticking to my running schedule, but I didn't sleep very well last night. So I woke up this morning and I watched BookTube instead. And then I was gonna go for a run on my lunch break, but I'm talking to you instead, so I will go after work. I think my plan this evening is to film my July wrap up and then go for a run, and then if I have time, carry on reading In a Dark Wood, but I might edit instead. So I'm now over halfway through In a Dark Wood. I'm on page, let me double check, page 179, so I should finish this either today or tomorrow. This is still just okay. I'm not hating it, but I'm also not like obsessed with it like I have been with other Ruth Ware books. There's a lot of tension between the characters, and it is quite clear that we're building up to something. I still have theories, but I am interested to see what's going to happen next. It's not like I'm on the edge of my seat, but I feel like the intrigue is there. I'm finding that when I'm reading, I do want to carry on reading, and I'm not struggling to put it down, but you know what I mean. My camera cut me off earlier when I was trying to update you, but what I was going to say was, if you do not enjoy reading about unlikable characters, then you're probably not going to enjoy this book. The characters are very petty and spiteful, and I'm hoping it doesn't get too much. I'm waiting for it to get to the point now, because I feel like we've had the drama, we've established that these characters do not like each other, and now I want some answers to the questions that have been raised, especially around what happened in the past, but also I think I said there's a timeline in what I'm assuming is the future where something has happened to Nora and she's in hospital and she's trying to remember what happened. It's all a little bit hazy. It's feeling like a 3 or 4 stars at the moment. It's not going to be a 5 stars, and it's not going to be my favourite Ruth Ware. I think my favourite is still The Turn of the Key, which was the first book that I read by Ruth Ware, and actually this is reminding me a little bit of it because there is a spooky house setting, and it's giving me that nerve-wracking feeling where I know that we're building up to something, but it's not as strong of a feeling as I got when I read The Turn of the Key. So yeah, I will let you know once I finish this. I'm probably not going to do another update now before I finish this unless something really shocking happens, but I'll let you know. Let's talk about In a Dark Wood by Ruth Ware, because I did end up finishing this last night, and I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. I haven't decided if I'm going to round up or down yet for Goodreads, but I ran it through Corpile and it only got 1 point less than 0 days, which is interesting because I had issues with both of the books that I read for this vlog, but I feel like this had more stuff that irritated me. There were certain reveals towards the end that I didn't predict, which I really appreciated. There was some stuff that I guessed, but generally this wasn't as predictable as I was expecting. It was a pretty standard dramatic mystery thriller. Like, I don't think this did anything super different, but actually this was published in 2015, so the same year that Girl on the Train was released, and they're very different stories, but there was a trend at the time within thrillers for very unlikable main characters. And yeah, this did feel like a book that was published in 2015, I think is what I'm trying to say. I really liked The Girl on the Train when I read it in 2015, but I don't think I would like it today if I was to reread it, or if I was to read it for the first time. So yeah, possibly this is a case of me getting to this book quite late, and that affected my enjoyment, because I feel like Ruth Ware's character writing has changed quite a lot since this book. Some other issues that I had with the ending, obviously without going into spoilers, is I don't think that the justification and the reasoning behind certain characters' actions were that believable. I wanted more explanation and I wanted more complexity, and I don't think I got that. A lot of what happens in this book is charged by the characters' emotions, and it all felt very surface level. There was a lot of telling and I wanted more showing, but yeah, like I said, 3.5 stars. I don't think that this is the worst book that I've ever read. I don't know if this is actually the worst book by Ruth Ware that I've read. Actually no, I gave The Death of Mrs. Westaway 3 stars, so this is slightly above that. But yeah, I'm really glad that I read this, because I feel like it's given me more context. I don't know if that's the right phrase, but I'm glad that I read this to see where Ruth Ware started. I think the mystery thriller genre has changed quite a bit in the last 7 years, and is it 7 years? No, it's 8 years actually, since 2015. But I do think that the mystery thriller genre has changed quite a bit since then. So I think that Ruth Ware's writing has moved with the times rather than changing drastically. The only other book that I have left to read by Ruth Ware is The Lying Game, but I am convinced I've already read this. I don't know if I'm just imagining it or remembering wrong, but the synopsis sounds familiar. The only way I would have read this though would have been on my Kindle, and I can't find it on my Kindle. So maybe back in 2017 when this came out, maybe I read the synopsis on Amazon and then just didn't buy it. Or maybe I've read books like this before, but yeah, this is the only book by Ruth Ware that I have left to read. So I'm gonna try and pick it up in August, and then I can do a video where I rank all of the Ruth Ware books that have been published so far. But yeah, that is my plan. I am going to wrap the reading vlog up here though, so thanks for watching if you made it this far. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of Ruth Ware's books, which are your favourites and which were a little disappointing to you. But yeah, let me know what your rankings would be. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and click subscribe if you would like to see more videos from me. But otherwise, I will see you next time. Bye!